My name is Åste Holtan and I'm the founder of Studio Holtan. I think that my company stands for and works for site-specific architecture. Architecture that belongs to the site and that reflects the nature and the landscape. I think that site-specific architecture is of course about the nature, but it's also about, you can have site-specific architecture in the city as well. It's about reading the environment and making sure the architecture interacts with the environment. So it could be, because I'm from Norway, that I think about it in the terms of nature, but it could also be in the city with urban environments. I've always wanted to become an architect, and this is probably the most epic answer ever. It's something about the creative side of it, and since I was little I started drawing plan drawings and facades and sections and such, and I think that was partly because I grew up in an old listed farm in Norway. And you can imagine, a building from the 1600s is not ideal for a family with 3 very active kids. So I think from early on I wanted to do changes and propose changes to my parents. Draw sketches on how an extension would be, where the new bathroom should be. And when I was that young, I didn't know about all the tools you needed to learn, all the technical things you need to use. It was just about this vision and this dream of creating something. But now I see that, of course, there's a lot of hard work and there's a lot of technical issues, a lot of problems, a lot of, it's a process. Word of mouth is a good way to get new projects, but it depends on what you're after. Because if there's a lot of competition in one field of architecture, then maybe you should rethink your business and think about how you can be unique and do something else, because then you'll have a different platform, you have different customers. I think you can change your field. You have to go out after it, because if you just lean back and you get new projects by word of mouth, you tend to get the same type of projects that you already had. And so if you just lean back and relax, then you will probably just do those same projects. It's especially hard for new companies to get new customers if they go after the big clients. They need to start doing, smaller projects that the big companies don't want. Our niche is creating unique, complex architecture situated in landscape, a more extreme landscape. For now. Yeah, I turn down work once in a while. It has to do with my connection with the client. So it's very important for me to meet the client first and see if we have a good connection. And sometimes the client just wants this, quick fix drawing. They know what they want. They probably drew it themselves, maybe. So a lot of people know what they want, and then they're not open for new interpretations of movement, lights, all these things that architecture can improve in the building climate. you find inspiration in everything, right? Recently I saw a Netflix series called Chef's Table, you know, it's about cooking. And that's also very inspirational because they work with color, they work with composition, and the way the Michelin restaurants, they go out, find local food, find new food and new materials, and this could be translated into architectural language, you know, going out, finding new materials, composing it in different ways. So it's fun to get inspiration from other places than just architectural projects. But for myself, I also find inspiration in, you know, for example, I also read art magazines where occasionally there's something about architecture or spatial installations in the art magazine. It makes me reflect upon architecture and art, you know, and the relationship between those two. So I'm very big on Pinterest. Other than that, I have, you know, if it's for managing my own business, then I use noisely.com. It's background noise. So you can, so it's really, really good for being efficient. You go to noisely.com and then you turn on whatever background sound you want. And one of my favorite is actually when I want to get in this nature mode, you know, I put on some wind, and then I put on some campfire sounds and some birds. And then it's this whole background sounds that make me more productive. You know, we work in a different way that they did back in the 1980s. Before they had computers, they drew everything by hand. Now we have computers and the technology is, you know, advanced. So we can let the computer do a lot of the drawing, etc. So the way we work changes. But also I think that we will see more of flexible architecture and temporary architecture. Not in this way, you know, not flexible in an open close type of way, but more what is flexible architecture? Is it a building that can last for centuries, that you can just change, you know, change the inside of? Is it something with components, some, you know, flexibility in the way you manufacture or put things together? You know, there's some great projects here in Denmark where they made flexible buildings that actually are composed of all these components that you can take off and then you can reuse them. I think we will see more of that as well. I heard an interview with some known architects, Norman Foster, for example. He and Zaha Hadid, they talked about how architect students today, they cannot sketch. They used to be able to sketch everything and draw very precise drawings, and architect students today, they don't have that, you know, skill anymore. And that's because we are learning new skills, you know, computer skills, and we're drawing in a different way, for example. So it pulls in both directions. We gain something and we lose something.